Spiritualism New Zealand mini seminar series. My name's Kim Chamberlain, and I have the great pleasure to be able to speak to people within Spiritualism New Zealand who have gifts to share with us. And today I'm really pleased to announce that we have Mary Newton with us, who's going to talk about her mediumship journey. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you very much, Kim. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good to have you here too. So let's start with, when and how did you become aware of spirit in your life?
Well, when I was a young teen, I sort of had flashes of things that hadn't happened around me, concerning me and those close to me. I really didn't think much about it, but when something happened, I thought, oh, I knew about that. And it was like, oh, okay, yes. But I was raised in a very strong Catholic family, so there was no one around me who I could talk to about the visions or the words that I've got in my head. So I sort of blurted out, and I didn't know there was such a thing called spiritualism at that time. And it was like, then came the marriage and the children and the mortgages and the jobs and all those amazing things that consume your life. And it wasn't until my mid-30s that spiritualism really came into my life again. I had a very traumatic operation, which knocked me for 6, and took me a long time to get over and heal from it. And then I felt spirit become more vocal and more around me. It's almost like a lot of people, when you go through a trauma, you just become more aware of what's around you, and that there's more forces out there to help you heal. And there was something in there that made me start looking.
So how did you start off on this journey then?
Well, as I said, I know it's normal for people who go through some traumatic time to look for help outside what they know. Subconsciously, they're looking for something, but, what can I do to help my body heal? But why has this happened to my body? But I didn't realize what I was doing at the time. It just seemed a natural thing to do. And I looked at healing therapies, I looked at essentials, oils, crystals, massage, numerology. All those things are available around at that time. See, this was around 35 years ago, and of course, there was no Google then. So you had to look what I could find. So, there was books and CDs and things like that, and that's where I went for my information. So finding the information was a challenge. And back in the late 80s, we actually moved back from Wellington up to Auckland. And a chance conversation I had with a lady, I heard about a church around the corner from me that did healing. Oh, this is for me. So the next Sunday I went along, not knowing anybody or anything about spiritualism. And hello, my life changed.
Wow.
The local spiritual church I went to was amazing. I mean, there was powerful healings, amazing speakers, and it inspired me, and I felt like I was at home. Yeah, that's how I started.
Wow. So apart from going to the spiritualist church, did you do any other training?
Oh, yes, lots. I did every course I could get my hands on. I really did. I soaked up every bit of information I could get. I read book after book, and then listened to CDs of mediums and healers, and because that's how they put out the information at that time. I was just so thirsty for knowledge. A couple of courses I did were healing, and I loved it. I thought, this is me. And I started becoming a healer in the church and was doing healing for friends. And also at the same time, I did a massage course. So I thought, this is it. I found a little niche in the world, and away I go. Then one day at one of the services, they had a message from the platform for the medium, and I got told, one day you'll be up here doing this. I laughed. Then I'm just a healer. There's no way I'm going to be up there. I'll never be good enough and to deliver what you are doing. As we all do. I also did other courses outside spiritualism, like self-development courses, which helped me to understand who I really was. I was also a Toastmaster for 14 years. This gave me the confidence to stand up in front of people and talk. But I think this is when I came into my own. I think by this stage, my children were in their late teens, and growing up and didn't need their mother as much. And my husband was off playing all his sport. So what am I going to do? And the door just opened and in it flowed. Yeah. Then the brainwave, we moved to the Gold Coast, as lots of Kiwis do. And that's when the doors really opened. Because when you move somewhere, you only know 2 or 3 people. And how do you get to meet people? You join groups. You get out there and you connect with people that you're already interested in. And the spirituality and Toastmasters were the first 2 groups I went looking for. And I found a home in both.
Wow.
I met, and on the Gold Coast, I met a wonderful lady who was teaching tarot. I thought, I quite enjoy doing that, just as another edge to what I did. Because I used to get, when I was healing people, I used to get little messages. And I said, okay, well, whatever. You don't think about it, you just do it. I did enjoy that connection, and my spiritual connection grew wider and wider. At the end of the course, she'd actually just picked up a contract to do readings at a theme park. And she asked me if I'd like to be one of the readers. Like, wow, really? Me? I'm so new at this. I'm a novice. But she had faith in me. And so that's how I started reading cards on a Sunday at Dreamworld in the old crystal shop that used to be there.
Oh, my goodness.
That was my beginning of public work. I was lucky because I had a very supportive husband who had no problem what I did. But for him it was good because I was bringing in extra cash, and because he worked on a Sunday anyway. So we worked together on a Sunday, so that's all right. You're going to earn some extra money, good on you. Means I can have another round of golf. But when many people queried him about what I was doing, he would say, oh, she's a witch. That's all right, I don't quite believe what she does, but man, there's just something in it,
Mm.
So that was the standard joke in our house that my mother's a witch or my wife's the witch.
Yes, I get that. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That makes them happy, then fine. It's just a word. From then, of course, I started connecting with other spiritual groups and spiritual churches, because there's a couple of really good spiritual churches on the Gold Coast when I was living there. And I joined the circles and the healing groups and the meditation groups and all those things you tend to slip into. You don't even realize what you're doing. You don't realize that you've been there and doing all these things. And I just plodded along doing that. My next job, and I was also started doing a market that was run out of Brisbane. And that once a month we'd go to the RSLs and we'd do markets and I would do readings. It became quite a little community. My next big jump with spirituality is after my husband passed away from cancer at 60. How rude, he died on me. Not fair. So I was alone in Australia, no family, no kids. They were still here in New Zealand. What am I going to do? So I just 100% fully embraced spiritualism. I went in boots and all. I was still working full time, but the weekends were my bit on the side. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. I continued to do other courses and be around people to grow and develop. And the girl who'd had the contract at Dreamworld, she introduced me to a lady at Carrara Market who had a new age stall there. And funny enough, I knew her mother through Toastmasters. See, a little circle.
Little world, yeah.
Yes. And so the daughter had a new age store at Carrara Market. It's not there, sadly. But I loved it. I was there every Sunday. And I just loved it, meeting people, talking to people. I wasn't doing readings, someone else was doing that, but I was talking to people at crystals and books and cards and spiritualism and all those amazing things that I was still really quite novice at, but was learning along the way. Then sadly she closed it. And then another friend opened another new age store there a couple of years later. And off I went back to Carrara Market again, but this time I got to do readings and I loved it. I loved just being around the energy and meeting people and talking to people. A lot of them were tourists, a lot of them were Kiwis. And it was fun to talk to Kiwis in Australia about Australia. Yeah, and it was in the spiritual church on the Gold Coast run by one of my teachers, that I did my first platform. I was terrified. I was raw. I was a beginner, and I didn't get many yeses. I got lots of no's, and I'm a failure. I can't do this. This is hopeless. Blah blah blah. But no, she said, no, just keep going. You'll be fine. And I think I did it again a month later, and I got a yes. One yes, yes. Right, I can do this. And I just called in spirit, and I pulled them through to work with me. And of course, during this time, I was also mourning for my husband. But my connection with spirit helped me to move through that and regain my power, and in so many ways reinvent myself.
Mm.
And it's during this time I actually came across Cameron and Lisa, who ran the Infinite Connection. And they became my home away from home. They sort of adopted me as their I don't know, waif and stray. And they were just there for me, and they helped me so much. And I helped them run their classes and their groups, what they did. And I learned so much from them. And my connection to spirit became stronger and stronger and stronger. At the same time, of course, I was doing all the markets around with this group I was doing. And I actually had the privilege of doing 2 mind, body, spirit events that they have at Gold Coast on the convention centre. Now, they're big events. And yes, I was in the readers pool or whatever they call it, but I loved it. I loved it. I even did. They had a little readers pool at the Sexpo. I even went and did that. That was fun. So you could do readings anywhere for anything, and that's so. In my 10 years in Australia, I touched many people, and I learned so much. And like the girl who left New Zealand in 2005 was not the girl who came back in 2015. She had changed.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So interesting.
That's a very interesting journey. So can I just ask, for people who might not be very familiar with it, talking about a mediumship journey, what does mediumship mean to you?
Mediumship for me is connecting with spirits, connecting with those loved ones who have passed, bringing through messages of love and joy, peace and hope from those that have passed to those that are here and grieving, those who are missing those souls, or those who just want to hear from someone. I mean, I don't tell fortunes, if and I don't ask for lotto numbers.
No.
But I'm there as a conduit between those that have passed away and those that are here. And you don't get it right all the time. You never do. And you have misses, and that's okay. Because for the spirit person to come back to communicate to their loved ones, sometimes it's very hard work. And you might get the words wrong or description wrong. And then the person you're reading to says, oh, no, that's not them. So it's not easy. It's not an easy role to step into, but it's so rewarding. It's so caring. And I care for others. I love supporting people and being there for them. And that's why I became a celebrant.
Oh, right. That's nice.
That's why I became a celebrant, because I love marrying people, but I really enjoy getting to know families who've lost a loved one and supporting them as they go through their grieving process. One, because I've done it and I know what it's like to lose a partner and the pain it causes. But I also know now, after 13 years, how to live on my own, how to support myself.
Yes.
And know that whatever it happens, you will get through it.
Nice. Nice. So if there's anybody wanting to do a similar journey to you, what kind of advice might you give them?
Do the courses, trust. It's like, I mean, we're like, I came back to New Zealand because my son and his wife had another baby, a little boy. And he sent me a photo of him 2 hours after he was born. And I thought, oh, see, you were going to get me home somehow. And I looked at that photo. I'm going home. Home. He's got me home, because I wasn't coming back to New Zealand. I was staying in Australia. But within, seeing that little boy, that's why I had to come home. I was actually a bit unsettled in Australia anyway. I was sick of being the nana on the computer.
Yeah.
And so it was time to come back. So I came back to New Zealand at 61 with 10 boxes and a car and reinvented myself again.
Wow.
And of course, straight back to spiritual churches, because that's what you do. And I joined another market here in Auckland called Crystal Visions, which I love doing. I'm also part of the Mind, Body, Spirit group here in New Zealand, which is in Tauranga, Whangarei and Pukekohe twice a year. So I do those as well. And I found some amazing teachers. I started off with Anne Reinbeck here in Auckland, who is a marvellous teacher of spiritualism and mediumship. And then I became involved with the churches again. And the one church I was involved in, they started to bring mediums in from overseas. And so I had classes with Christine Morgan from Australia. And then I had classes with online first with Scott Milligan from England. And through Scott, I connected with Sandra Champagne in America, which is, she runs an amazing group, which is all over the world. And through them, I connected with Kerry McLeod and Phil Dykes from England. They are amazing teachers, and I have learned so much. So, there's what you can learn in person, you can learn online. There are lots and lots of teachers online. Just be careful when you pick one. Just be careful. When you find a teacher that you trust, go for it and absorb as much as you can, but you don't have to stay with the same teacher. When you're ready to move on, you move on. And a lot of people these days, they find it more convenient to learn online. One thing we can thank COVID for is learning the online stuff.
Yes.
That has opened up the world so much. So
learn a lot, basically.
Learn a lot. Find a local spiritual church. If you don't like that one, find another one. Here in Auckland, there are 8 or 9 spiritual churches. Some at 11 in the morning, some at 2 in the afternoon, some at 4 in the afternoon, some in the evening. They're there. They're all out there. Just Google spiritual churches, Auckland. They'll come up. Other centres, spiritual churches or spiritual communities as well. Go looking. But there are so many ways to connect with spirit. There's like meditation or learning how to go into the power. Learn to become with spirit. And let spirit connect with you. You've got your angels, your guides. There's all sorts of tools out there. You're not alone. You're not weird. And it's not a solo journey. There are many around you in your community that, until you go out looking for the support, the help is there. If you have a strong sense of spirituality, you have sense that something's around you. And they've always said, when the teacher's ready, when the pupil's ready, the teacher shows up. Because if you ask spirit, I'm ready to learn, show me what there is, someone around you will tell you about a teacher, or you'll meet someone who'll be able to help you on your journey. But don't hide. Spirituality is nothing to be ashamed of. Sadly, I know people who go to spiritual churches or go to groups, and their families and friends have no idea where they're going and what they're doing. Wow. They keep it a secret. Why keep it a secret? It's amazing to be part of an amazing spiritual environment. So don't be embarrassed by it. Stand up and be proud. Say you're a spiritualist. I'm quite often asked if I speak to dead people. I have to be careful when I say anything, because as a celebrant, I do funerals, and I don't want to scare people. I don't want to scare families.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But it's been a very interesting journey. I'm in my 70s now, but I'm never giving up. Spirit is there everywhere on your journey, and I'm still learning. And I will take every opportunity I can to learn and connect with spirit. In 26 days, I'm actually on the plane to England. Wow. The last time I was in England, I actually got the had the privilege of working in 2 spiritual churches in England, up north of England, where my sister is. So hopefully I'll get to work in England again this time. But I'm going to Stansted, to the home there, to sit in those grounds, not to do a course, just sit in those grounds, absorb the energy. There's a big spiritualism house in London, which I want to go to. There's things I want to do in London. I'm going all over, and once more, just to embrace my own spirituality and to learn. And I will take every opportunity I can to strengthen my connection to spirit. For me, that's what spiritualism is all about. For me, that's what living with spirit is all about.
Oh, that's wonderful. What an interesting journey that you've had over all of these years.
It wasn't until I started thinking about it that I realized, wow.
Yeah, what a journey. It hasn't finished.
But each bit takes on to the next bit. There's like each bit is a learning that you move on to something different and something new. Yeah. It's quite funny because I never ever understood where it came from, because, I don't have my parents or my grandparents, no one seemed to be connected to spirit in any way. It's like, where did it come from? And I don't know.
From spirit.
Just spirit. It just came from spirit. It's not inherited. It's not because my mother did it or anything like that. It just happened. But I love it. And it's who I am. And I always know if I have to reinvent myself again, spirit will be with me there. And we will
do it together. Really nice. Oh, look, thank you, Mary. And we could talk for hours, because I think what you've just given us is the tip of the iceberg. But as a taster for other people who are starting on a mediumship journey, it's been fascinating, all the different avenues that you've taken. And we all do our own journey, don't we? But just hearing all the possibilities that people could take. So what I will do for people is I will put your contact details below the video. And if they want to find out more, then they can connect with you through your, is it Facebook page?
Facebook page, yeah, Mary Newton Psychic Medium. Just send me a private message. I do private readings at home. I go to your place to do private readings. I do house clearings. I actually do access bars. I do healings as well. And I'm also a celebrant. I marry people, and as I say to people, I match them and I dispatch them.
Lovely speaking to you, Mary. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful to talk with you.